PowerIQ Virtual Appliance Quick Start video. You purchase a PowerIQ Virtual Appliance license and you want to get started. The objective of this video is to provide you the most basic steps to get you started so you can produce a basic chart and perform simple power control. Prerequisites. You purchase a PowerIQ Virtual Appliance license. License capacity can range from 10 to 1,000 devices depending upon the model that you purchase. You need a VMware ESX host machine. Copy the PowerIQ ISO image from the DVD to a computer with access to your ESX host machine. You will configure a virtual machine on the ESX host with 80 GB free hard disk space, Red Hat Linux 4 32-bit. You'll need to set the following minimum attributes depending upon the PowerIQ model you purchased. So for example, if you purchase a PowerIQ model with 50 devices, you will need to add 2-core CPU and 2 GB of RAM. There are 4 more main steps to getting started. Step 1 would be to import your PowerIQ ISO image into the virtual machine you created. Step 2 is to enable SNMP on your APC, Raritan, or ServerTech PDU. Step 3 is to open the console and set the network settings on your new virtual machine. You will set the IP address, the network gateway, the network mask. Step 4 is to access PowerIQ via the web browser to finish the basic setup. You will access it with the IP address that you set in Step 3. You will add your PDUs, set your polling interval, enable power control, and create a basic report. Tip is to start adding just a few PDUs at a time with a simple polling configuration to confirm your SNMP communications and ensure PowerIQ is correctly pulling data from the PDUs that you want to manage. The remainder of this video will start with Step 2 and walk through Step 4. First, I want to show you more resources that are available to you for more advanced configuration and use. You can obtain documentation and templates at www.raritan.com. Click Support, click PowerIQ. We also have more videos at raritantraining.com and at our YouTube channel, Raritan Inc. You can access tech support via email at tech@raritan.com, and also you can ask sales about our Quick Start service offering. One of the first steps that you need to perform is to enable read-write SNMP on the PDU that's going to be managed. I'm going to show you how to set this on the Raritan Dominion PX. You will also need to set this on your APC or ServerTech PDU if you want to manage those devices. From the PX, you go to the Device Settings tab and scroll down to SNMP Settings. You click the Enable Agent. You click Enable SNMP v1, v2 protocol, and you would enter the right community string. This is typically by default private, PRIVATE, but you can enter whatever you would like here. I'll leave more advanced SNMP communications later, and then click Apply. Now you have your SNMP agent correctly enabled on your Dominion PX PDU. The next step is to set your network settings at the serial console of the virtual machine you created with PowerIQ. At the serial console screen, I'd enter the logon of config, C-O-N-F-I-G, and the password of Raritan, R-A-R-I-T-A-N. At the serial console, you want to use the arrow key to select Networking Setup. You hit Enter to select. Again, use the arrow key to select Setup for LAN 1. Use the space bar to select Enable LAN port. Use the Tab key to move down and enter your appliance address. Tab down to enter the network mask. Tab down to enter your network gateway. Tab down to accept and hit Enter. I've already done this, so I'll move to Cancel and hit Enter. That completes basic network settings on your PowerIQ virtual machine. The next step is to access your PowerIQ via your browser with the IP address that you set. Upon first install, you'll be given an end-user license agreement to review and accept. Once you complete that, then you're prompted to log in, and the login is admin, A-D-M-I-N, Raritan, R-A-R-I-T-A-N. Submit. I will first go to the Settings tab and select Polling Op. During my startup, I gave you a tip to start with the most basic polling interval so that you can get started, and then later you can explore more advanced polling options. So I'll start with a basic polling configuration of a polling interval of 5 minutes, and I will not set any of the additional parameters, and I'll click Save. Later, as you add more devices, you might want to back the polling interval up to 15 minutes or more, just to again ensure the system is stable, collecting data, and then you can make adjustments. Save. The next required setting, click Power Control Options, select Enable Power Control. Again, I'll leave the more advanced settings for later, and click Save. The next step is to add your PDUs. So I'll select the PDU tab. To keep the video short, I've already added a PDU, but I'll show you how I added it. I select Add. To add a Raritan Dominion PX PDU, you'll enter the IP address, such as you'll enter the Dominion PX credentials, which are typically admin, A-D-M-I-N, and a password, which is typically Raritan, R-A-R-I-T-A-N, R-A-R-I-T-A-N, and you'll need to enter the read-write community string, which you set when you enabled SNMP on the PX, and this is typically private, P-R-I-V-A-T-E, P-R-I-V-A-T-E, and you would click Add to add that. I've already added the PDU, so I'm not going to do that. To add another PDU, such as a ServerTech PDU or an APC PDU, you would click Add, enter the IP address. You do not need to enter Dominion PX credentials, and you would just enter the read-write community string, which is typically private, P-R-I-V-A-T-E, P-R-I-V-A-T-E. And if you have the discovery box checked and click Add, you'll see the status of the discovery. Click OK. And now I want to confirm that I'm collecting data. Confirmation, first step would be to select the PDU tab, see the PDU name, location, and most importantly a status of OK, manufacturer, model, and firmware. I can then select one of the PDUs. Again, confirm that I'm collecting detailed data about the PDU. The next step is to set up your data center to enable basic reporting. I've already done this, but by using the GUI add, you will add a data center, which I've done, which is my Jersey City data center. Then you will add a rack, and from the rack, you'll then need to associate a PDU. This facilitates reporting. Now I have my most basic configuration, which is at least one data center, which is required, one rack, and my PDUs associated to a rack. Now I can go to Analytics, and I can create as many report folders as I want, but I'll start with one. I'll call it my summary report. I have a warning because I did not associate all of my PDUs with a rack. I just associated one, but I can ignore that. I can add a chart. I can add as many charts as I want to a report folder, and I select the settings widget. I can enter a title of my chart, a description, and I'll select a period. Since I've just started polling and I'm polling at a 5-minute interval, I'll select past hour because obviously I don't have much data in the system. I'll select an active power measurement, and then I'll select devices from my data center. I'll start at the highest level, and then I'll select my Jersey City data center and hit OK. Now I know the PDU that I've installed has no load, so I'm not going to see any data, but correct operation would be you'd start to see at least one data point in this chart. I'm going to show you one more example of adding a second chart. Show you more charting options. I'd go to the settings again, and if I select a longer interval, so let's assume my system's been running for a couple hours, and I select past 24 hours, for example, I have more measurement options. So I might want to chart IT energy in kilowatt hours. And I might want to graph my data at a rack level or a PDU level or another level, but I'll select rack. I can have up to 8 lines in a chart, and I'll select the rack that I want to show in line 1 and click OK. That's the most basic charting. Now I'll show you the most basic power control. I'll go to my PDU page. I'll select my PDU. The PDU needs to be a switched PDU. I select a particular outlet, and I select to turn it on. This completes the most basic setup to get started. I encourage you to look at the additional resources that I pointed out earlier in the video to do a more advanced setup. Thank you.